all that stuff. So I will we'll start recording and I'll send this out. So the partners, all right. I know of you. I know a lot of you from our in-person events. You know, back in the day, back in February of 2020, when we used to remember those days when we used to have in-person events. You know,
what's that?
I know some. Yes, right. I know some of you guys know our preferred partners, and some of you don't. And I know also a lot of you are used to being harassed by vendors constantly. So I guarantee you that will not happen today. Look, nothing what we do here with Real Producers is possible without the support of our partners, but they're not here today to sell themselves. I mean, I'm sure they'd be glad to connect with you after, and I'll make sure everybody has everybody else's info. But as realtors, you guys are the best in your field. They are the best of the best in their field. So I invited them on the call today because they are experts in their specific area. And I believe they can be a great resource in working with some of these unique obstacles. So, Mr. Schaub, since you were the first partner on, I'm going to ask you to go first, then Christopher, and then David. Go ahead.
All right, 10 seconds, guys. Get that timer out. It's Friday afternoon. Joel Schaub, everybody. I've been 15 years as the Vice President of Mortgage Lending at the corporate headquarters for Guaranteed Rate. We're just happy to be on today. So we'll talk more later.
Hi, my name is Christopher Hubbard with Hubbard Design Group. We're an interior design firm here in Chicago. Been in the business since 2008 when we launched our firm. And looking forward to learning more about what you do and how you do it. So happy to be here.
David Frank with the David Frank Law Group. Very unique name, huh? Been doing this 20 years and have been on a lot of deals with all of y'all. Not always on the same side, but I enjoy spending a Friday afternoon with you and getting to know y'all a little bit better. And looking forward to it.
Sounds great. Well, now that everybody is done, I am going to be quiet, at least as much as I can. Obviously, if there's an awkward pause, I'll jump in. But just wanted to open it up as far as what the feeling is out there in the market. So, just if it's slow or if it's busy, I know a lot's changed probably in the past 2 weeks. But Jordan, no script, open forum. Would you mind just taking the baton on that?
Yeah, for sure. Trying to keep this real estate focused for the most part, you're saying, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I mean, aside from everything obviously that's going on in the world right now, specifically in the real estate market, at least on my end, and I think everyone's probably going to agree with me. I service a lot of first-time home buyers. I'm going to say that's probably the majority of my clientele and my sphere of influence, as well as move-up buyers, which is starting to become more common now that I've been in the business about 6.5 years, starting to get those sales. So really what I'm noticing though is I am a lot more busy with buyers than I am with my listings. I'm probably 4 to 1, maybe 3 to 1 right now for buyers versus listings. So, there's a couple of things with that. I'm grateful for the business, grateful to still have a lot of business going on, but it's a tough market for a buyer. What I'm noticing is this market's kind of coming back with a vengeance, which I was predicting, and I think a lot of people were as well, is I'm almost just thinking like Q3 is essentially going to become Q2 because we kind of lost Q2 in this whole mix-up of everything here. So rates are staying low. People are out there, tons of demand. Everyone and their mother seems like they want to buy a house and take advantage of it if they're in a position to do so. So I think that's cleared a lot of the fluff out of the industry, and I don't mean that in a way of agents, but more so there's not as many looky-loos. Everyone that's out there, if they're on the market to sell, they're trying to get it sold, and if they're looking to buy, they're trying to do it. A lot of these people trying to do it before their leases are ending in July and August. That's kind of what I'm seeing right now. So it's competitive though. So it's you got to be prepared. You got to be able to set expectations accordingly with your clients, because I'm telling them, from the get-go, you guys might see something Monday. If we're going out on Wednesday, there's a good chance that 3 of the 5 properties we saw on Monday aren't going to be there anymore. So making sure they understand what they need to do to position themselves to be successful in this market. I think that's critically important. So communicating effectively, over communicating, and I think properly setting expectations right now, as well as a little bit of figuring out how to manage my schedule and be efficient. that's, I know if we're going to talk about challenges, that's something that I'm struggling with right now, is just more so the life organization, because business is pretty good right now. So that's what I'm seeing on my end. Really, really competitive on the buy side, under $500,000 price point, that kind of that entry level home. That's what's moving.
Thanks.
Yeah.
This is totally open. Does anybody have any insights onto like what's working or new strategies they've implemented in the past 3 months, or what's not working?
Well, just leveraging off of what Jordan was saying, yeah, my phone was dead for like 2 months. And then, you know, like for a while, like in the last 3-4 weeks, the phone started ringing again. And interestingly enough, just like he said, it is, at least for us, it's been primarily buyers getting ready to pull the trigger. Now, one thing I'm trying to figure out is whether or not, you know, it's more of a personal curiosity than anything, and that is whether or not there's an urban exodus occurring. There are rumors of that. There's some evidence of that. A lot of anecdotes. I was talking to a high-end buyer today, who was definitely, you know, very close to pulling the trigger. I think they still are, but you know, recent events have really gotten them concerned, and they're thinking, you know, they're thinking twice a little bit. And some friends of theirs recently decided to move to one of the North Shore suburbs, and you know, that's got them thinking as well. I'm just wondering if anybody else is seeing that.
Definitely seeing that. A lot of people who have expressed, you know, don't want to be living in the city anymore, want to be moving into a more suburban environment. I think that's a temporary phenomenon, not a permanent phenomenon. I do not think that will last, but hearing that a ton right now. I mean, a ton. Just a lot of people who are living in high rises who, you know, want more space.
I'll add to that, though. I think it is temporary, because the way I look at Chicago, and I service the city of Chicago for the most part, and people are there because that's the lifestyle and environment they want and they choose. Even though right now it's a little challenging in there, people are, even myself, I'm wanting a little bit more space, you know, appreciating nature a little bit more. I think, like you said, you know, everything kind of comes and goes, and as people get back to the new norm here in the next few months, I think we're going to see, you know, people continue to just flourish in the city. But I am having a lot of first-time buyers or younger buyers that are considering areas like, let's call it like Portage Park, Jefferson Park, you know, a little bit more like, let's say 25, 30 minutes outside of the city, where they can potentially get a single-family home, a yard, you know, garage, and they can get that for, you know, 3 or 4 bedroom house for $350,000. So I am seeing that trend a little bit more, but not far suburbs, just more surrounding suburbs of the city.
Yeah, I would agree. I think what I found is that a lot of people are still responding to the tax increases and the fear of more tax increases coming to Chicago. So a lot of my friends are getting rid of their second home, so to speak, their condos downtown. They just don't see it as being affordable. I think a lot, you know, if this thing becomes permanent, which I don't see it happening, you know, then bigger spaces will be desirable. Pools will, you know, I mean, I've heard through the, you know, pools, people are looking more for homes with pools, with bigger spaces. You know, those micro units, apartments, you know, on the west, downtown, near west, those things are in danger if with COVID. I mean, if you got to spend your entire time in a 500 square foot apartment, it's going to drive you crazy, and you probably would have nothing to do but get out and protest yourself. So, I'm finding I'm not really finding a lot of blowback on this yet, and I think people know that this is temporary. And I think most of us are hoping that we'll get back to some sense of normalcy. And, things will change, habits will change. Hopefully we'll be smarter, and without us touching our faces and washing our hands and all that, we'll probably catch less colds and less flus in the future as well too. So there'll be some positive things. As far as Andy getting off and talking about what works, now that there's less inventory out there, you have to get creative. So you have to get creative finding properties. So I'm developing with my team a huge off-market. We're chasing a lot of pre-foreclosures. We're doing things that we didn't have to do before because it was easy to get inventory. Now it's hard to get inventory. So now the question is, do you step up and do you go find it? We're going back all the way to 2013 and looking at homes that have been closed for flip purposes, and they're still sitting there. And then we're chasing the owners down through that, using True People Search or whatever, a couple other, there's about 4 or 5 free resources to find people's names on vacant homes. So I just scribbled some things down here. So we're chasing off market properties. We're looking when we go in an area, of course, probably. We used to do this to some degree, but now a very, very commonplace every day, checking cancels, temporaries, and expired listings. I mean, that's I get calls on. So I get some properties that are sellers will pull off and temp them because they got to do some work. I'm getting calls. It's insane how much. I never used to get calls before. Now it seems like I get every time I temp a property, or even if say a seller decides, hey, I'm going to cancel it, wait till COVID clears. I'm getting calls all the time now where I would never get calls before. So other people are getting in the game. You got to, you can't. The thing that we have to walk away with is understand that the old ways are the old ways, and now you've got to think outside the box. And so the one thing that I teach my team is I teach them, and I talk about this every day that we have our huddle, is creating a sense of urgency. And the reason why I bring it up all the time is because I have to brainwash myself, and I have to brainwash my team. That's my responsibility, is to feed my brain. I clearly have no problem feeding my stomach, so I've got to feed my brain. And I want to encourage everybody today too. If you think about what is it, what is it that motivates you? Then where are you the most motivated? And I'm kind of a geek when it comes. I study this stuff. I'm always listening to different motivational speakers and different athletes and what motivates them. And to me, what works for me is fear, is healthy fear. I walk out in the middle of the street and speeding car's coming. Do I need to stop and think, oh man, my back kind of hurts, or no? I'm not thinking. Anything in my mind is quickly eradicated, and all I'm thinking about is getting to safety. It's reactive. So if I'm able to train my mind to be reactive every day I get up and I realize I have a purpose. If I don't work, there's somebody behind me that's going to take all of my business. Somebody's working 24/7 to take my business away, and my kids don't eat. When I think about that stuff, that creates a heightened sense of urgency for me. So that's what works for me. And I'm a hunter, so I don't. Some people, everybody's different. I can go in our office. We have hundreds of agents, and everybody's got a different personality. When I get up, I'm going, man. I'm moving. I'm proactive. I'm a type A personality. I go out and find the business, but I still need that push. I still need that daily push every day. And when I do that, when I focus on the sense of urgency, bettering myself, I become better. And really, the last thing, and then I'll shut up for a little while. The last thing is the most important thing is to be constantly that I've learned is constantly working on myself. Because because there's nothing on the outside that's going to really make me better. What's I see so many agents come in looking for, a $1 million check to fall out of the sky and fall in their lap, where I realize, I quickly realize it's on me. Everything is on me. I can have all the toys. I can have the best CRM, the best drip campaigns and stuff. And if I'm not doing the work, it doesn't get done. I'm not making the money. So I always train myself and train on my team to focus from the inside out. I see so many agents come in and look for handouts, and look for, feel they're entitled. They don't find it. So they go to the next real estate. They kick the can down the road. Then they go to the next trip. They keep kicking the can because they don't realize that they already got it, baby. It's inside of us. So with that, I'm going to shut up for a minute. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
Stay tuned, right?
Stay tuned.
Yeah, Dominic, I know you just hopped on, man. Would you mind introducing yourself real quick? And then we're just kind of spitballing on what's working, what's not in light of COVID and even the last 2 weeks. And we can obviously keep this real estate focused, but, we'll be fully transparent. I mean, the incidents of the last 2 weeks, I'm sure, has affected everything. So this is, just totally an open forum to talk. So I'll let you take it away, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to say hello to everybody. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. There's a peaceful demonstration in my neighborhood, and I just couldn't get to where I'm staying currently. I'm Dominic. I'm with Irpino Real Estate. I hope everybody's safe and well. I bet there's been a lot of that, but it's truly, I hope everybody's doing well and safe. What's working for us is my marketing coordinator. I remember the first week she said to me, hey, I totally understand if you want to cut my hours. Most people that I work with, that I help, they're doing about 50%. And I said, you know what? I'm looking to increase your hours. And so what's worked for us is I've never spent more in marketing in my life, because what people are looking for is good content, and they're looking for people to trust. And so we are firm believers of something called coming from contribution in life, where just give, and do what you can because of just being a good person. And then things will kind of come back naturally or organically. So we're giving content. So providing valuable content, and you probably heard it, but not just being a real estate broker. We pride ourselves on being a knowledge broker. And when people look at you as both real estate and a knowledgeable person in your neighborhood or community, we've been finding that now more than ever, people are appreciating that content, appreciating that knowledge, and then either coming to you directly or sending their friends to you for helping them buy or sell or invest in real estate. So number one, don't be afraid to spend right now, even though we're probably we're blessed. We're about 80% of what we would normally be from some people I'm talking to. I think it's more like 25, 50. Some people it's 100. I would say we're maybe about 80, 85%. I think a lot of that is because we're not afraid to spend. We're not turning our back. We're facing this challenge head on and taking a shot. Like I said, I've never spent, my last couple checks I've written for marketing have been the biggest checks I've ever written, because now more than ever, you want to be that person, because not only for now, but then for when you're done, when we're past this, it'll be appreciated. So marketing, obviously we all know, just zooming like crazy. We try and reach out to at least 5 people a day to do a wellness check. I don't call and say, hey, do you have any questions about real estate? We call and say, it's just a wellness check. It's been a while since I've spoken with you. I want to make sure your family's okay. We're offering to shop for people. We're saying, hey, we're out there. This might be a good thing for you guys to do. We're out and about every day anyways. That's cool. So, hey, if you need anything, why don't you call or text me? We'll be safe. We'll wear gloves and a mask. And we've been getting, no one has taken us up on it, but we've gotten a lot of positive feedback that said, Jesus, that's so much like you. Thank you so much. We are pushing an email out a week with different content, exercise at home, or things to keep things to watch on TV, or things to keep families from going crazy. We are continuing our local business spotlight, but instead of it being a business, we're doing something in the neighborhood. So we interviewed our aldermen. We interviewed the Chamber of Commerce. We interviewed 4 local artists. That's going to be our June local business spotlight, where we went and saw their murals, the street art. So we're thinking outside the box, and because there's so many things that a lot of other people are doing, we're trying to do the opposite. So we're a little fresher or a little different. So local business spotlights or local area spotlights. People want places to go safely and people want content. So we're focusing on marketing and content and content and marketing. So boom, boom. That's the biggest push I've got for everybody. I think everything else you kind of know. I mean, there might be a little thing here or there, but marketing and content. And does anybody have any questions directly for me? I'd be happy to help. And Montro, I love you, brother. I can listen to you for an hour.
Hey, brother, let's go. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
Appreciate the love. Back at you.
It's
my
there.
Italian
it's
friend.
there.
What are you spending your dollars on now?
So I pay our marketing coordinator by the hour. And so I basically just increased her hours, and I'm literally paying her to like Google other realtors and other businesses to see what she feels is most effective. And then just spending time. I doubled our marketing meetings. So we used to have one marketing meeting a week on Tuesdays. We just had mine earlier today. We do Tuesdays and Tuesdays and Fridays. So we're increasing the hours, increasing the meetings, and increasing her efforts, and it's been paying us off, paying back. So
how did you find that person?
She knocked on my door. So I got very lucky.
Did she have a background in marketing?
Yeah, she left a firm about 3 years ago, lives in my neighborhood, and knocked on my door.
Wow.
And at that time, I was just having my team. I have 2 office managers, and I was just having them kind of do marketing. But having a professional that knows what they're doing, she studied it in college. She worked for a big firm and then wanted to have a child. And so the moment she had her child, she's like, I'm just going to stay at home and I want to work for 4 companies instead of 1.
Does she have a sister?
She does, but she's not in marketing.
Oh, darn it.
You know, there's places you go to LinkedIn, you put an ad out there. What's that website? Indeed or something.
Yeah, Indeed.
Yeah.
Paying by the hour. And then we started here and we went to here and now we're like past the screen. And it's just been amazing. And don't just hire them, but have weekly meetings to check in on where you're at. She comes up with her own agenda. I like, hey, could you make it part of your scope to come up with the agenda every week? And she's like, sure. And she emails me the agenda ahead of time. Here's a tip for you. I have her give me homework every week. And that homework is to add a minimum of 5. Any other questions? I'm happy to help while I'm sharing what I have for everybody.
Are you running any Instagram ads or Facebook ads?
Oh God, yeah, Facebook. We're boosting Facebook ads, Instagram, yes.
What's your conversion on those? Which one's working for you better right now?
So we have a real estate coach as well through Tom Ferry. And they're saying the trend is Instagram.
Agreed.
Instagram video.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Have you had any success at all with Facebook?
Yes. But you know what, guys, sometimes we don't know, like first of all, yes, to answer that question. And sometimes it could be the person referring us, sending us an email that saw the Facebook that is not necessarily telling us the reason why we went top of mind on their plate was because of Facebook or Instagram. It's working because we're relevant. It's just my last name. I'm not a franchise. So that's a challenge in the city of Chicago. You know, it works in smaller towns, but bigger cities, it's a challenge. So definitely it works.
So when you
tracking where those leads are coming from, you just mentioned like we don't know if they're coming through Facebook. What's your funnel look like to be able to like decipher? Or are you just asking these leads? Like how did you discover us?
Jordan, good question. It's a little bit of everything. So it's asking, and then I ask Jenny to track in a spreadsheet. She's our marketing coordinator, like the clicks and the conversions. She has a whole. You can ask whoever you're working with marketing wise to track that as part of the agenda.
You use like
every outlet.
You use like Bitly and stuff in order to kind of get those analytics on the back end.
I don't know what she uses. I'm so like, you do it so I can do like the other stuff. I'm totally free with my team. Like, oh, I trust you. You do that. So sorry, I don't know.
Would you describe your Facebook ads as more brand image advertising, or is it more of a direct response type focus?
Our focus with that is to, first of all, help our clients by getting their information out there for their listings, whether it's coming soon or just listed or an open house. But then it's brand. We want to create that Irpino brand about being that boutique brokerage. And then that's working. Every year it gets a little bit more, as long as we're working towards it. The local business spotlight has been the biggest, probably the most effective thing I've ever done. And if you want to see it, you can go to our website and go to blog. And it's basically simple. That's part of our agenda. What's next month? and what is the rest of the year. We have the rest of the year planned out. It's a little different right now with what we're going through, but generally in January, we'll have entire year, every month planned out for each business. We'll contact that business about 2 months ahead of time, see if they're okay to do it. They usually always are. And people look at us as the knowledge broker in the neighborhood because of those local business spotlights. I've gotten so many listings because.
Where are they seeing that? Are these all being hubbed on like a YouTube platform? Are they on your website? Where
Website, YouTube. So that email list that we keep growing, that's who we're sending it to. We've got a huge database from before. Facebook. I ask people that I meet, hey, nice to meet you. Would you like to be on our mailing list so we can keep you apprised of what's going on in the neighborhood and in Chicago? 8 times out of 10, they're like, absolutely. And when you ask, you're usually not going to get us unsubscribed.
So it's mainly the mailing list is where is the end goal is to get them on that list, because then all communication and marketing goes towards that list.
Yeah, you always want to be growing that list, your database.
Yeah. I don't know if people have seen that change over time, because that's kind of the golden rule is, add people to your database on a daily basis. But now it's getting harder and harder to figure out where people are coming from. And sometimes people are just coming in organically as well. So
we advertise on Zillow. So a lot of it is any contact on Zillow, I'd put them in there. Anybody reaching out to us. So all I do is, it takes a little time. There's probably a better way to do it. I go back 1 week in my emails, and then I just go through like, oop, that's one. Oop, that's one. Oop. And then you'll find it if you just go back a week in all of your emails.
Then are you sorry guys, I have a few questions here. So then
This is why we're here. This is why we're here. And I'm actually curious too, Jordan, when you're finished, if I know Joel, I believe I've seen you do a lot of stuff on Facebook. I think Christopher, I want to say yes, but I don't know, David. And if you have, I apologize if you have done Facebook or Instagram stuff just for brand awareness, but I'm curious what our partners are seeing too, because it's a same industry, but just different avenues. So Jordan, go ahead and finish your thought.
No, thank you. Last part of this. So when these leads are coming in, you just said, okay, there's one in my inbox, there's one. Are you categorizing them and then running different like drip campaigns on them, of course, throughout the course of the year? Does everyone get the same thing?
Everyone gets the same thing.
Cool. Keep it simple.
So not categorizing either, just putting them in the database.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Any other questions before anybody says anything? I'm happy to help. Love helping.
Stuff. It's interesting.
Okay. Thanks. Good to see you guys. I'm here to continue the conversation. I miss you, Frank Montro.
We got to get a cigar, bro. We got to figure out where to get outdoors.
Big's opened up, brother. You and I got to connect.
Okay.
I'd love to hear from you. I feel like your brand is on point, right? You're out there everywhere. What are you doing right now to kind of keep that awareness?
Who are you talking to?
Oh, I thought I said Joel.
Oh.
Well, guys, the one thing I want to challenge everybody to do is find ways that they can be shown as being very charitable and giving right now. I plan for the future, so it's not about what I'm doing today at all. I've looked at the next 6, 9, and 12 months. And just to give you an idea, for the last 90 days, I've had 122 client closings for just shy of $50 million. And it's because of the ability to build the brand. It's not because I'm the best mortgage guy. I'm not even close. It's just because of the branding and the ability to actually connect and help people. So if you can go out there and be charitable and continually show that to your sphere through Instagram, through Facebook, and through email, you will be seen as the person that right now when times are tough, people are going to remember 6 months from now when they get ready to list their place. They're going to say, I got to call Dominic, right? I got to call Sara. I got to call Frank. He was killing it when things were bad. Now that times are good, I bet you he's really doing great. And so time and time again, it's about being charitable, going out and giving, and the more you give, the more you gain. So that's my challenge for you guys.
Love it.
Amen.
Excellent.
Oh, you inspired me, Joel. So I forgot to share something with you guys. I don't know if you're doing this, but I'm doing 1-minute videos where I'm at my Matterport shoot. And the Matterport, and you guys know what I'm talking about, the Matterport camera.
Yeah.
And people are flipping out over it. I'm getting texts, I'm getting calls. Oh, you're active. Oh, I saw that camera. And I asked the photographer, I'm like, can you just spin it so I can film it? Are you okay being in the film? And they're like, yeah. And so I've done 3 Matterports, and I get real close and I show them, look at all the lenses and then I take it off and I'm like, I'm 6 feet away. Or when I'm with clients for showings and there's a lake view, I'm like, hey guys, I know times are tough. I just wanted to say we're out there, we're helping people. We're here for you if you need anything. I'm here with my client, Brett. And I ask my client to make sure they're okay. And then they wave. And then I go, we just wanted to show you this view. Check this out. We want to give you a different perspective. Maybe you're at home right now. And then I show them the lake view from a balcony. And then that's like, oh man, that's so cool. You know, so short 1-minute videos when you're out with clients. I'm doing them at the closing, at a parking lot closing. Guys, I was just thinking about you. We're at a closing. It's a little different. We're in a parking lot, but we're being safe. So there's my clients. And then my clients say, hi. And then there's the closer. She's walking out with paperwork. And those 1-minute videos has been very helpful for us. So I want to share that with you guys.
Good stuff.
Does anyone use the virtual assistants in their business?
I'm sorry, what?
No.
Does anyone use virtual assistants in their business?
Nope.
No, but I'm getting a lot of those emails.
Yeah. I feel like it's
Jordan.
no, but I'm exploring it for sure. I think there's this whole quarantine it's really allowed me to believe that. Well, first off, it creates you could potentially create a decentralized hub of a business, right? So my thought process was if you could build a rockstar admin team for your operations, let's just say a transaction coordinator, a marketing manager, a listing manager, maybe those 3 positions, or potentially a 4th with just a general administrative person. Having that as a central hub that's all connected through Zoom, just the same way you'd have normal people, but getting them for $8 an hour versus 25, and then just having them very focused on specific tasks day in and day out, and then allowing us, because I've realized in the past that I don't think my mindset is not one of an implementer or as like an operations person. It's more of the visionary thinker. I have these great ideas and I'm active and I'm out there, but when it comes time to like actually put it into the business, it's tough. So if I could spend my time more so talking to agents about an opportunity of growth within, my organization and my vision and where I'm going, and then having the operations leverage that from a virtual perspective, then I think there's almost a way to build an expansion business within the city without having to have brick and mortar and all the overhead costs that you would have in brokerage.
I should probably point something out. I don't know if you guys realize this. So I've been in business 13 years. We started out virtual. Yep. We've never had an office. All of our agents work from their homes. I see my business partner maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Now, my business partner and I are on the phone multiple times a day. And whenever I have a question for an agent, I just call them, and they call me whenever they want. I tell clients that I'm basically available from 8 in the morning. We all work from home. I basically tell my clients that I'm available from 8 in the morning till 10 p.m. 7 days a week. So if somebody calls me, I'm gonna get the voicemail pretty quickly, and it's rare that it takes me more than 3 hours to return a phone call. So I've just, to me, the concept of an office was obsolete day one.
Gary, I called you today and you got back to me in like 5 minutes, man. You're always fast.
Did you really? Did you really?
No, but that's just how quickly you are. No, you're always quick, man. Anytime we submit offers to you, you're always on it. Hey, I have a quick.
You're probably. It's probably one of my I don't do that many deals personally. I do the deals that have like they're either really high impact or they have a lot of hair on them.
Yeah.
And so usually it's one of my agents that are handling deals. And
Speaking of a lot of hair, we got Andy Burton with the shaved head, but I wanted to chime in and just ask Christopher. Okay, Hubbard, I wanted a question to Chris. With everyone not being able to go into people's homes right now and doing what you do, what are you seeing in the market, Chris?
Well, I'm still going into people's homes. We take all the precautions necessary. It's challenging because, everyone wants to stay safe. But we do a lot of virtual meetings as well. But in my business, it's very difficult to see things that are very tactile, like fabrics and wood samples and stone samples without being in person. So we do a lot of that via video and FaceTime. But again, our industry is a little different. So again, being more tactile and so personable, it's a challenge not to see someone face to face. But we do. We meet on the terrace, or we'll meet at the front door and exchange what we need to, and that seems to be working.
I was going to ask if you had any specific, like, just story that where you've kind of helped a client maybe in this situation, just how you guys are getting creative, because it has to be. You got to pivot, and how are we going to work stuff out? So I was just curious, is there anything specific that maybe a success story that you want to share, how you've helped the client out?
Yeah, well, again, in our industry, a lot of the typical showrooms and suppliers are closed. So the Merchandise Mart, for instance, where we find most of our fabrics and our finishes and furniture, it's desolate. So the showrooms aren't open. They're reopening now, very slowly. So that's been a very difficult situation for our industry and our partners. But what we do basically is, we'll try to find ways to make the process simpler. So, because of my background and I have so many sources, I'm able to pull down from those relatively easily without any hiccups. But I will tell you about one success story that we had. We're doing a lot more exterior work, as you can imagine, because people want to be outside in their homes, and now was the perfect time or anyway, 30 days ago was a perfect time to begin that process. So we've been able to find products that were normally 12 weeks from Italy or from Denmark or the Netherlands to the US and find those local sources. So planes weren't taking off. We still can't get rugs from Nepal because the airport shut down. So just trying to find creative ways to utilize those resources to solve problems. We are seeing the benefit of that. And a lot of our clients are now happy with the outcome because, again, without those resources, it'd be very challenging.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Julie, Sarah, you guys have been, and Wendi, you guys have been kind of quiet. I'm curious what's in the genius minds of yours. Usually it's like the quiet people you have to watch out for when my son is off doing his thing. I'm like, it's been quiet for 15 minutes, and I should be keeping an eye on him, and he's building something out of blocks, and that's like impressive. I'm like, I didn't know you knew how to do that. So I'm curious.
I was thinking about a lot of the positive things, that we've had this pandemic, and I don't know if everyone was like me, but the first few weeks in March, I was kind of like dumbfounded and stuck in my way, and like almost I couldn't move for like 2 weeks. And then I was like, okay, I got to get this rolling. I got to get this going. And I think the time has been good. Like Joel mentioned, getting up your game on your social media, just any way you can connect with people. I also have found that these Zoom meetings, I have gotten together with people over Zoom that I haven't seen in a very long time because it's just easy. Not in your car, you're not sitting in traffic. Friends from high school that I haven't seen in a long time. I mean, just a lot of different things to be able to do things like this and just plop myself on my kitchen counter. I've had to sit down and had talks with buyers like this and sellers like this. So I'm hoping that as we move forward, some of this will continue, because I think as a realtor, it's made some of our life like a little bit easier. I mean, of course, we want to get back to the face-to-face. No one likes faces more than me. But to have a 10-minute Zoom call with your client in the morning while you guys are both having coffee is a lot easier than getting to a Starbucks and blah, blah, blah. So I think that, there's going to be a lot of good things that come out of this. And, for me, it's just been staying in touch with people. And just kind of hopefully that momentum will keep forward. And like Jordan said, I think the second quarter, it was kind of like it was a dream. The world was asleep, and now third quarter is going to come along, and people want to get out there and they want to do something. So I feel good things for the future.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on one thing that I heard Dominic say, and which he spoke on quite in detail, is that the marketing piece, the social media piece, it's so important. And in the downtime, this is a really great time to start working on your brand. What does your brand look like? What does your brand represent? How does it appear to the public? Are the things that you would change that you think might benefit your brand? But it's a great time to refresh and just, put your best foot forward in terms of, representation of your brand and who's in contact with you, staying in front of those people. It's taxing and it's a lot of work, but we're seeing the benefit of that. So in our industry, as you can imagine, it's a luxury business. So we deal with, clients, in the higher income bracket. So, there was a lot of fear in the market. And, people didn't really want to spend money. And Chicago's a conservative city to begin with. So, from that standpoint, it was very difficult to sort of, loosen those purse strings to get people to spend money. So we started focusing on other things. So that was really important for us to sort of, give our brand a once over and to make sure that we look our best coming out of this. Because I think that, those who do are going to be stronger and they're going to be more in the front of the pack as opposed to in the back of it. So.
I got a question. Is anybody doing virtual open houses?
We have not conducted them. I've participated in them. It's, I think it has a lot to do with the person conducting it, because I've had some virtual showings, and one my client walked away from saying, it just didn't work for me. But then there was another one that was a different agent, and I think it worked quite well. We got a good sense of the property. I think it's a function of how you walk through the property and how you explain what they're looking at,
Yeah, I agree. When we film now, we do a virtual walkthrough, we do a lifestyle. We just don't go living room down, we're like, okay, so in the living room here, you're able to, we talk function. You're able to if you have a big, we find out what, try to get a feeling of their furniture, what they have, and say, okay, so you're, 65-inch TV is going to fit great in this corner, great here. So we can kind of walk through and tell them how you're going to live in the house, not just walk. I mean, everybody knows you're in a living room or a dining room, So, we take it a step further, since we kind of pretend they're in the room and pretend we're talking to them, or else if we FaceTime them, then, we have a little better success with that too. What is everybody else doing, like on those virtual walkthroughs or virtual tours or virtual open houses? I'd be interested in hearing.
Well, one of my really good real estate friends has asked me to join them on the virtual tour, to discuss the potential of the space and how they could envision living in a space with different types of furniture, different colors, what the implications of a new kitchen might look like from a cost standpoint. And so that's been really helpful to the various brokers I do that with. And we were doing that, we started that campaign before COVID. So I think that was very helpful. And
that's interesting. I'm sorry, didn't interrupt.
No, it's okay.
Okay, that's interesting. So take a partner like yourself in. So that's fabulous, because somebody like you can, especially with your superpowers, you can. I'm sure you've got crazy envisioning skills. So you can take somebody like that. That's a perfect fit. You can go in and bring an area live and discuss how to live in it, and then also you're helping forwarding your branding. That's brilliant. I love that.
Well, it's also, and a lot of it has to do with cost, right? So if we go into a house and, the kitchen's in decent shape, but they want to redo the countertops, they want a new backsplash, they want the backsplash to match the countertop. So they need 4 slabs of marble. right? So there's a cost implication of that. There's a labor piece too. So, and then they want all the appliances and faucets and redo the floor. So what could be, you know, $100,000 problem, we could perhaps help them find ways to make it a $50,000 problem. So a lot of it has to do with cost, right? And we're also level setting expectations of that undertaking, right? So, you know, if the husband, you know, he has to have that wet bar. Well, you know, the wet bar you're describing to me is a $6,000 problem, right? So, you know, again, we want people to have a really good idea of, you know, what they're walking into. So, and again, it really helps the broker to help sell the client on the big picture, whether it be, you know, a design element or a cost element.
Cool.
Yeah.
If a property is tenant occupied, what I've been doing is 2-hour windows, if the tenant will allow, where I'll do 15-minute FaceTime virtual showings. If it's not tenant occupied and I have access to it, I've been doing 2-hour windows instead of like an open house, but like an open showing platform to schedule your showing, either, you know, 15, 20, 30 minutes. That works pretty good. We did sell a tenant occupied property with the 2-hour FaceTime window, and our buyer was one of those 15-minute windows. That worked well.
That's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that. What we've done is, Dom, is we've asked the tenant to record, do a walkthrough, record it, and send it to us. And so we've been able to sell some investment properties, or, you know, 2 flats with, you know, the tenant occupied, like, oh, we ain't letting anybody in here, you know. So we get one of those situations, and we throw a Starbucks card at them and ask them if they'd do us a favor, and it's been working for us. So we've got them to record, and then they're happy, and we're happy, and we get to sell, especially to someone that's not going to live there, as long as they get a working idea that the place isn't the ceilings aren't falling down and everything looks similar to the, you know, comparable to the first floor, then they're happy.
We're letting the Matterport do that for us. And then the benefit, Frank, and everybody else, is that when we do the showing ourselves, our people on the other end are saying, can you turn to the left? Can you open that? So they're driving, they're quarterbacking it. And so it feels like almost like they're there. We found that with our buyers, I'm like, I can send you a video that the current tenant took. And they're like, that video is horrible, or they would rather control the video. You know, kind of like a Matterport. Can you go back in the bathroom? Would you mind looking in the closet again? And Frank, I know this is going to be a shocker to you, but I say to them, to kind of sweeten it, I say, thank you so much. It's so kind of you. By the way, do you drink red or white? And then they'll tell me, and I'm like, okay, what kind of grape do you prefer? And they're like, I'm a cab. And I'm like, I'm going to bring you a bottle of wine to say thank you.
Nice.
That really helps. So that future requests, you know, whenever, hey, we've got an inspection coming up. Oh, sure, Dominic, no problem. It's like, do you want another bottle of wine? It's just, it always helps. And Montro and I being Italian, it's in our blood anyway.
Spot on. Love it.
I think that's the 2-hour time blocks work pretty effectively for me for owner-occupied properties. And if it's a hot property, it's great because you put people every 15 minutes. Every time you walk out of that property with one party, they see the other one coming in behind them. So it's kind of this fear of loss equation because everyone knows the seller's market is. So I'm almost doing that strategically. Even if I just have scattered showings, I'm trying to put them all into a one-time block every 15 minutes so that they overlap. And not to say that they're in the same property at the same time, because obviously that's not what we're trying to achieve here. But they have that brief little interaction where they see each other. I think that helps.
I think the video walkthroughs too have been really helpful. I know our team, when we couldn't go in and show anything, and for some of the lower end properties where you don't bring in a whole video team, or maybe we hadn't done the Matterport photos, we had just done regular photos. Now with the fancy iPhones and a stabilizer, we're walking through and actually walking through the apartment or the condo or whatever the home, and putting it together then with a little bit of music, kind of editing it a little bit. So when an agent even does make an appointment, here, please send this video to your client first, have them see the walkthrough, get a feel for the property, if they want to come in and see it in person, our sellers are happy to make the accommodations. But I think in the beginning, people were really scared to kind of have the looky-loos, even though they probably weren't looky-loos. But I think that's something that we're going to continue because it just was nice. People like to kind of have that walkthrough. And if it's, even if it's in a lower price, you can still do a nice walkthrough and get people comfortable with the space.
What program are you using for your editing?
So I have my son do it. He's in
Okay.
college, and he does
Smart
it's
lady.
iMovie.
Yeah.
On the Mac.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a great tool. It's a great tool.
Is there anybody out there that doesn't have an iPhone besides myself that uses an editing program? I'm getting ready to start using that, so I would love anybody's input.
We actually engaged with doing a gimbal, if you're familiar with that. It attaches to your iPhone, and it's an app that you download after you purchase the camera. And I think we've had good success. It kind of feels like a little bit like the inside drone experience.
I've heard of that.
As you tour the home. And I think it depends. When COVID first hit, we were doing a lot of that just because we knew a lot of people didn't want to come out of shelter if they were serious buyers. So we would send them that link. And then we kind of modified it a little bit as a branding, just so that our client realizes, oh, we've got video too, to kind of complement the marketing materials. It's like $150.
Sarah, that does like a wide, that does also, it does like the wide, doesn't it give you kind of like that wide range shot like the photographer use? I feel like that gimbal.
Exactly. Well, and
Okay.
it's not, you can kind of zoom in and zoom out. It's just got a nice flow to it. It takes some time to kind of get used to it because the camera is constantly moving and you're like, but it's great. And you can do voiceovers, of course, if you're not comfortable doing it as you're going with the gimbal, but it's a nice stabilizer too, to your point, Wendy, about how sometimes it can be tricky and it just seems very, when you're doing it off of your iPhone, it doesn't seem very professional.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just add our branding to it through graphics and iMovie.
Wait, so this gimbal thing, is this editing software or is it something that's used while you're filming?
It's an actual attachment to you attach your camera to it. So it's just a tool that allows you to be that much more, I guess, effective in filming a home. We also bought a little tripod to go with it. And I will say the first time we did it, I didn't use our microphone. And someone said, you know what, you should probably buy a microphone. So we did, and we just attached it to, it's one that connects to your iPhone. You can get it on Amazon. I think it was like $150.
Cool. David, I want to ask you what's going on in the Turner world. What challenges you face, and if anybody has any questions for David.
I think it's been an eye opener for us. It's usually you're in the middle of summer, you're out at closings all day long, and then you're coming home and you've got 150,000 emails to go through and millions of people wondering, why haven't you responded to my letter? And it's actually kind of refreshing to kind of to be able to stay kind of instantaneous with your emails, to see how much your clients, including realtors, appreciate that, keeping the deal moving, responding quickly. So it's really opened eyes in terms of how much time closings actually waste in terms of traveling, being at a closing for 2 hours. And even though you do have that in-person time with, the client and the realtor, it just goes to kind of show how much quicker we can move the needle when you're actually spending an hour and a half at a closing, and when there's a delay for funding. No offense, Joel.
Never.
you know, you're not sitting there 30 minutes, you know, hobnobbing with the client about their dog.
Right.
You know, you're continuing to progress other matters. And I
Sure.
think we're all in a volume business, whether we want to admit it or not. Some people can, you know, get by if they're on a really high-end market, maybe in the North Shore or Hinsdale, where you could, you know, do 5 or 6 big deals a year. But for the most part, all of us are in volume businesses. So it's interesting to keep everyone happy, how much of an eye-opener this has been, at least for my practice.
I think that's interesting too, just to add on that, just in general. I've found that like I've gotten worse at responding quickly, which it's not something I'm proud of, but it's a room for improvement. But what I realized though is actually, I was reminded today, is like, if you delay on stuff, or if you delay sending that email or calling that person back, like that anxiety just builds and builds and builds. And then next thing you know, you got people calling you, and it's now you feel guilty about stuff. So I've just realized, like, just put the flame out right away, like call the person back right away, you know, try to get back to them as soon as possible. Cause like you said, like if you can get through one obstacle, we all know there's multiple in every single transaction. But if you let each one play itself out for too long, I just feel like that's just setting yourself up for failure, because you're just going to allow too many other influences to come into play. You know, truly time kills all deals. And right now, I think, like you said, David, I appreciate when the attorney, the lender, everyone's just on it. Everyone's got that same goal to get it to the closing table, and people are communicative and picking up the phone, making the phone call versus texting and emailing back and forth. So I think that's important right now.
1,000 deals.
Yeah, that's been my biggest takeaway, just constantly figuring out that, you know, my ad and reel producers, and how much time I'm spending with agents, and, you know, am I, you know, going out for drinks on Thursday afternoon with my agent partners and my, you know, my buyers who potentially could sell one day. The best thing I could do for my practice is actually work on my practice, and it basically just grows organically from there.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it is past 5. People have to hop off. Totally cool. I probably have till like 5:15ish. If anybody is wondering too, this is water right here. Okay.
Yeah, right.
This is water.
The total shame, Andy. What a shame.
This is vodka.
Paper cup.
Straight vodka.
Yeah,
Dominic's on straight vodka at 5:08.
Just throw that out there.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Julie, I want to hear from you. I want to just talk. Just you can recite a poem or something. Doesn't even have to be real estate related. But
Hi, Julie. Hi, Sarah. Hi.
Hi.
Julie, I'm so sorry. Julie, I'm so sorry. I gotta hop off though, guys. I love you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Love you, brother. Love you.
Have a great weekend.
All right,
Thank
you so much.
And I will probably leave without announcing, because my battery's just going to die soon. So
I'm on my laptop, so
Julie will have the last word. That's it.
That's cool. You close us out, Julie. But yeah, anything you want to share.
No, you know what I was
so
going to
nice
say is,
to
you
hear
know, I think we're all finding ourselves on these Zoom calls all day, every day. And, you know, sometimes just listening is the way to pick stuff up, you know, just kind of hearing what's going on. And, you know, I agree with a little bit of what, you know, everyone is saying. And, you know, I think you've got a couple things, you know, the whole COVID thing, and then just the last couple weeks. And, you know, I think if we all don't take some time to look inside ourselves and come out a little bit different, then we've done ourselves a disservice, and, you know, our clients and our communities as well. But yeah, we've just, you know, I think through this whole thing, you just continue to show up, and kind of like Joel, you know, you want to put good service out there and take care of your clients. And, you know, our business has stayed consistent, and we feel fortunate for that. And I think a lot of that is just the communication that we do consistently all along. But, you know, the care calls that we're doing to our clients while this is all going on. And you know what, we're all going to be okay. We're all going to come out of this, and business will go on. And I think, you have to take the time to learn from others and see how you might do it differently. But, you know, we're still going to provide a good business as we come out of this. And, you know, we're excited about it. We still love what we do.
We will end on that.
Yeah.
Thanks for chiming in. Well,
Thank you.
thanks for everybody's time. We've been getting good
Yeah.
feedback on these, and it's just, I feel it's like we do those large panels. That's just kind of people preaching at you. This is more interactive. So if you're interested in hopping on another one of these, shoot me an email. I'll make sure everybody has everybody else's info after, and you guys can connect off of this. But that's pretty much
Thank you,
it.
Andy, for
Thank
putting
you,
this
Andy.
together. So nice. So nice to hear from everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
one
you.
thing I will say, Real Producers is actually launching an app. I took a page out of Christopher's book, which I didn't know he was writing this book, but apparently, yeah, work on your brand. And so we got pitched on like an app, I don't know, end of the year. I like the concept. I'm like, I don't have time to spearhead this. And so the last few months we have. So we're still going to just feature the top 500 agents and our partners, but the app will be interactive for anybody can download it. So it'll be launching soon. Obviously it's taken us a little bit because we have to upload all the back content and everything, but that's just something cool that's coming down the pipeline for us. So
Great.
that's it.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a big deal.
That is a big deal. It's a lot of effort.
It's fun, and so it'll be interactive too, a little bit interactive. So if you're looking for, I don't know, maybe like an interior designer or something, you can like touch their ad in the
cool.
the app, and it'll like do a profile, and you can like touch to call them, and it's pretty slick. So it's all electronic. I don't know how all that crap works, but it's gonna work. And, I've seen the prototype, so I don't know, God willing, before 4th of
Awesome.
it'll be live. So I appreciate everybody's time, and now I will switch
Thanks
this
for having us.
beverage to something else.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Andy,
Thanks, you guys. Have a great
Thanks,
weekend,
guys.
everybody.
Have a
great
great
weekend,
everybody.
have a good
Okay.
week.
Everybody stay healthy.
Bye.
Safe.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Bye, thank you.